In today's module, we're going to be looking at an onion layer approach to security for generative AI. And this is kind of like an interesting concept because it's a little bit different to how we would do security, for example, in networking and applications, but at the same time, it's very similar. Okay, so first of all, let's look at our scenario. We have our generative AI prompt, the means that we use to access the API of the large language models. Now, the way we actually interact with the prompt and the large language models is through a series of inputs that we use using the prompt, and in return the large language models is producing some kind of output to us. And the way we actually look at onion layer security is exactly that's what it is, right? Layers of security, right? And that's where that concept of onion layer comes into place, right? So at the center here we have our LLM, and around that we have various different layers of security. And really what we're doing here is, in terms of the input and the output, is we're filtering the input as it arrives to the large language model through a number of different layers, and we return the output in that same mechanism that before it goes directly back to the user's prompt, it will go through a series of layers of security. And by doing this, what we're really doing here is we're taking a layered approach to security and we're building defense in depth. And that's where that similarity comes in place, where we actually apply security in other areas where we're layering security and we're building defense in depth. And if you look at it, all these things, the yellow boxes, are gates which we are controlling here. And when we look at these gates in a little bit more detail, what we can do in terms of that onion layer security is, when we build those different layers, what do those layers look like? So the first layer could be prompt evaluation, right? So when someone actually enters the prompt, we can evaluate that prompt. And then the next way is, how do we actually provide a mechanism to control how that prompt arrives at the LLMs? And we can control the instructions that are passed. So that could be another layer. And then another layer is guardrails and policies, where we use to filter, again, both the input and the output. And we can also apply defense mechanisms that are similar to, for example, like SQL injection. So there's another YouTube video that I created that talks about SQL injection and prompt injection. And we can apply some of those defense techniques that we would typically apply into attack vectors like SQL injection, etc., in this scenario as an onion layer security approach. And then there's another layer in which we can parameterize the components of the prompt. So what we're basically doing is we're taking the prompt, we're evaluating that prompt as we initially stated at the top here. And then what we do is we put parameters around those components and sub-break them down as we process that as part of our filtering. And then also what we could do is we could format the JSON, the escape characters that we have, the quotes that may be in the prompt, looking to detailed aspects about the formatting of that prompt. And all these different layers are basically implementation of gates, right? And when we put these individual gates together, we create a layered approach here, just like an onion, a layers of onion here. And that's an approach to actually securing generative AI. That concludes today's module. Thank you.